edition, and hopefully it'll be a great one. Hopefully this becomes the greatest podcast in the history of the known universe. I caught up with one of the ones on Alpha Centauri, so I've got one of those beat. The other one's pretty good. Then there's that Rogan guy and Pat McAfee and people like that. But they'll die at some point, right? Or they'll just disappear. So maybe we'll catch them. But anyway, special Tuesday edition because I wanted everybody to have Labor Day to have some fun, which I had a pretty quiet weekend. Went over and, of course, hung out at the Phoenix for a little bit and watched Barcelona soccer with a huge crowd of Barcelona fans. That's always interesting. And had some great food. And I'm going to have Joe Spano up first, and then Eva Elliott's going to join me in the latter part of the hour to make fun of me because I got on Tinder this weekend and now Bumble, and entertaining to say the least. So we'll save that for her because, yeah, she's gonna give me advice on what not to do because, well, I know what not to do, which is don't be on there. But we'll talk about that later. Great weekend of college football, including the game last night that I think caught a lot of people by surprise, and we're going to start off with that. But prime time gets the big win. University of Houston holds on by the skin of its teeth. We'll definitely get into the Cougars a little bit, and yeah, plenty of stuff to get to today, and it'll be a lot of fun. And guess what? The NFL is 2 days away. This is the best week of the year because we're going to have great college football this weekend. I mean, we got some great matchups anyway. I don't know if it's going to turn out great. I mean, like Florida State, LSU was supposed to be a great matchup, and that didn't work out. But Chiefs and Lions on Thursday night. Here we go. No more sitting here having to watch WNBA highlights on ESPN. Oh, that's over. Go away. You people go away. We don't want any of you. So, all right, first off, before we get started, I'm going to tell you about the Phoenix on Westheimer. And you've heard me talk about it a lot. I was there a couple times. Actually, there yesterday for a little bit, too, because not doing a podcast. I didn't have anything to do. Went over, and they had the most amazing fettuccine Alfredo special yesterday. And it's just a cool place, man. They got great food, great stuff. And if you're a college football fan and you're a fan of Penn State, they have a watch group that goes there for Penn State games. So, which always made me happy because my daughter goes to Penn State. But they have that. Of course, Premier League's a big thing right now. And whatever team you have, and if you're not a Premier League fan, they have a way to get it. So like Celtic, there's a big Celtic group that goes there. Well, I don't know where you're finding that on any U.S. channels, but Vu does it, and it's really awesome. So go by, say hello to Derek. He's usually there at night, sometimes during the day for big events. Bailey, my good friend Camilla, all of them, just say hello. They'll take care of you. And, if you go in the afternoons, you're probably going to see me there sometimes. So big sponsor. They do great stuff and happy to have them. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. With Joe Spano, we're going to talk a little college football. Let's start with that game last night. And, it was interesting. So obviously, if you didn't see it, Clemson beats Duke 28-7. And it looks like they kind of pounded them unless you go back and watch the game. Clemson just kept shooting itself in the foot in every possible way, Joe.
What was the scariest thing about it? This was one of those games where Duke was looking like the plucky underdog that wasn't taking advantage of opportunities. And they squandered a bunch of opportunities in the first half, and you figured the better, more talented team, Clemson, would come out and steamroll them in the second half. That's exactly what didn't happen. Clemson shot itself in the foot continuously in the second half, and Duke goes on to the big win without dominating statistically. And, it was a really, really bad loss for Clemson because you expect them to rebound from a less than spectacular first half where Duke left points on the field, and then we should take over and kind of storm the castle and dominate the second half. And they didn't do that. This is a really, really, really bad loss for Clemson, who plays in an ACC that's devoid of truly elite teams. It's a loss they couldn't afford. I don't know, but as wide open as college football is, it may not altogether eliminate them from the college football playoffs. But boy, is their margin for error incredibly slim now.
Yeah, I don't think they can lose another game. And, you can overcome this, but there was a lot about them. And even though they turned the ball over in the red zone, 2 times near the goal line, the missed field goals, all of those things, if they follow through and score on those, they're in the game. Now, I don't know if they win it, that's the one thing. It's like they did that, and you don't look at it and say, well, then they would have run off and won 45-28 or something. And I didn't really see that. I didn't see dominant Clemson. What I saw
No.
was a team that's really good and played a really crappy first game and made a ton of mistakes that cost them. And let's give Duke and Mike Elko some credit. You know what? That Aggie defense hasn't been the same since he left. And now this is his second year there. He's got 10 wins in 2 seasons already with 1 game played this year. That's a pretty impressive job.
It is, and normally when you think of a Clemson-Duke football, a Clemson-Duke matchup, the only time you think of Duke winning is on the basketball court or in the classroom, not on a football field. And, so this is impressive. This is one of the bigger victories in the history of Duke football. And Mike Elko's done a hell of a job. And there, again, there should be some concern in Clemson, South Carolina, because you watch what was a very ordinary performance in the loss, and then you watch DJU go out to Corvallis, Oregon, and play a terrific game for Oregon State against San Jose State. And you say, boy, why did they let this guy leave town? And why did he perform so poorly in Clemson? He looked incredible. I understand it was against San Jose State, but he looked amazing in Oregon State's victory over San Jose State on Sunday.
Yeah, he did. And that was kind of interesting because, he looked like a different quarterback. And I don't know if it's coaching or what, but I want to get to the Pac-12, but I want to welcome in everybody who's chatting on the Twitch. Chuck and CY and BC's here. Appreciate you guys. Andrew Lanham, who great sponsor of the show, also in the chat room. Appreciate you guys. So, let's start with the Pac-12. 13-0, including primetime. And, that everybody was talking about that all weekend. And that game, my takeaways from that game are that obviously he's assembled a really good staff there because the play calling on both sides of the ball, I know they gave up 42, but, TCU had a lot of talent on that side of the ball. But the thing that stood out to me is probably the 3 best players on the field were from Colorado. The Harris kid was just amazing. The running back, and I got to tell you, Deion's son looked like a terrific quarterback the entire game, and they were just better than anything TCU could put out there, and that's why they kept fighting back. And I was kind of glad to see it. I know Deion can rub people the wrong way, but that was a fun game.
Hell of an entertaining game, and Deion's a smart commander-in-chief of a football program. He don't do a lot of coaching. What he does is he's got great coaches. What he does is he recruits incredible talent. And if you doubt that speed kills, watch that football game. The Colorado kids were fast. A lot of talent, a lot of speed. Deion's kid can play quarterback. They're a dangerous football team. I don't want to overreact off of one game because that's what we tend to do. Let's see what they look like against Nebraska, which is their big matchup this week, and that line's moved all over the place. But I got to say, I was taken, as you said, the assistant coaches, the coordinators, really good game plans, really good talent for a team that had none just a season ago. And boy, do they have speed, and they got quarterback play. Team like that can compete every week.
Yeah, and the 2 5-star kids they have on offense. Well, the one kid plays both ways. They look like 5 stars, and we see a lot of those guys that are kind of busts, and they don't have a bunch of them, but those 2 were fantastic. And looking at the rest of the games, the thing that stood out to me, and by the way, Nebraska, I'm really leaning towards betting Nebraska in that game. I think there's going to be your classic overreaction to Colorado, and if you watch that Nebraska game, which I was unfortunate enough to do so. Because I just had the TV and I'm clipping through every game at that point. And the ones I was interested in were not close, but that was actually a close game. And the TCU game was close, but the thing that struck me about them is they look like a team with an all new coaching staff in their first game. And it's like there were times where the right play call was there, everything was set up, and they just didn't execute it. I think you'll see a big jump from them in week 2. And I think I'm leaning towards taking Nebraska because I think I'm getting some value points here from Colorado's performance.
When you look at it as far as from a betting perspective, Fred, you either bet Nebraska or it's a no play. You can't jump on Colorado now the way that line has moved. It slid like 10 points. The
Yeah.
classic overreaction, the recency bias that always happens in these situations. And I think you're right on Nebraska. Because typically in these situations, what's the biggest improvement we see in college football all season? From week 1 to week 2. With a new coaching staff like that, that even gets compounded. So I think you may well see the big leap from Matt Rule's team in week 2, and I think they could give Colorado a hard time. Or it may be a situation where they're like Matt Rule's previous rebuilds, where they were really bad in season 1 and the leap came in season 2.
Right.
I don't know. Remains to be seen. But you either bet Nebraska, and if you take it on the chin, so be it. But you're getting no value betting Colorado now, so they're a no bet at this point.
Yeah, a couple other things. I was glad to see Oklahoma run up 73 on Arkansas State. We talked about Arkansas State last week as being one of the worst teams in college football. I want to get value betting against Oklahoma moving forward, so I was glad to see that, which is the only reason to get excited about a 73-0 game. But the team that impressed me the most was, and I know there were a lot of big numbers over the weekend, I really liked what Washington did against Boise State. That team looks, Michael Penix is going to have a monster year. They look good on both sides of the ball. And Boise's not the Boise of old, which is one of the reasons why I was all over Washington this week. But that team looks very, very good moving forward. And the one that I wasn't impressed with was Ohio State doesn't look like it has a quarterback right now. Now, that could change by week 2, but I wasn't all that impressed with Ohio State. Your thoughts on those two?
Hard to argue with anything you said. You're exactly right about Ohio State. They're trying to find their way, and they struggled with a bad Indiana team. And as for Washington, bit of a slow start in that one. But, boy, once they got it ramped up, boy, there was no looking back. And Michael Penix looks like a Heisman Trophy contender. And there's a couple of them out there out west when you look at the Pac-12, which we'll get to. Quite a few quarterbacks that are going to have their name in the ballot box for the Heisman Trophy. But I was very impressed with what Washington did. I don't know if Ohio State finds their quarterback or not, but I was really impressed with Washington. Wasn't impressed by Ohio State. We'll see how it unfolds as the weeks move along. I got to say something else I was less than impressed about is Power 5 Texas teams had a rough weekend. Baylor loses. Texas Tech loses at Wyoming. That's a bad loss for Joey McGuire's team. And now they've got Oregon coming in, and they have their own Heisman Trophy candidate in Bo Nix. I think they're going to have a tough time with the Ducks this weekend.
I agree, and I mean Oregon looked great. I mean it's hard to judge an 81-point game, but yeah, if you just look at the Baylor game, I did not see that coming, and they just did not look good. Aranda's a hell of a coach. I don't know where that came from. It was just a poor performance to a team you're supposed to beat by 20, and they were not in that game. And Tech at least got to overtime and had his chances, but you can't lose a game like that, not to Wyoming. And
No.
And for that matter, I mean Texas did what it was supposed to do against Rice, so that and A&M did the same thing. The UH against and all my UH friends keep trying to tell me, oh, but that's a good team they played. That's a good team. It's like, yeah, but the offense was terrible. You put up 17 points. That's not going to work in a Big 12. Well, it might against Baylor now. Who knows? But I just thought such conservative play calling. It reminded me a lot of last year, running the ball too much, trying to, I guess I'm in my old age. I miss the UH air raid. I miss the throw the ball all over the yard. Yeah, we may give up 60, but we're going to score 70 and all this. Let's just not, but I just don't get what they're doing on offense. I didn't get it last year. And it goes to close games. They had so many opportunities to put that game away with a little bit of aggression, and it just wasn't there. And it's frustrating to watch. But the good news is the defense looks a lot better than last year for one game. And BC says Cougs getting moved to the under teams column. Yeah. And the one change I don't really like, and this applies to everybody, is the running clock thing. And I think as gamblers, we need to pay attention to this because that's going to allow teams that run at a slow pace to run at an even slower pace.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that a lot the other day. Now, my only big bet of the weekend was the over in Colorado TCU, and I didn't have to sweat that after the third quarter, but those teams both played at a ridiculous pace. Now TCU slowed it down a few times to try to settle down and make some plays, but Colorado came out there snapping the ball every second to start the game. And, I think that running clock is going to make a difference in some of our plays.
It's something, according to studies, they've estimated it's going to shave about 7 or 8 plays on offense off, for each side, off of each side's offensive output per game. And that's a lot. When you look at a high-powered college offense, what do they run? Somewhere between 70 and 80 plays. Shaving 7 or 8 off of that's close to 10%. That's big. You really have to start looking at that when you start looking at playing totals, unless you get one of these crazy runs like the second half of Colorado and TCU, where the offenses were kind of quiet as far as putting up points in the first half, and then it explodes as it often can do.
Yeah, I was nervous about my over 65 at halftime, and then get 2 touchdowns in the first 2 minutes of the second half. It's like, okay, we're going to get there. Yeah,
there you go. I mean, I had the opposite of it. I had the over in Temple and Akron because both of those Temple offense looks like, was expected to make this big leap, and Akron's got an awful defense. And outside Akron scoring in the first minute of the game, it really never got going. In the second and third quarters, it kind of got moving a little bit. I'm like, okay, they might just sneak over this total. And then 2 teams whose offenses are better than their defenses don't score a point in the fourth quarter. How about that?
Yeah. But any other thoughts from college football on the weekend? Anybody else stand out to you?
As far as from the good, I think we covered it. From the bad, I gotta say LSU disappointed. To lay an egg the way they did in the second half. Game was tight at halftime. It was all square at halftime. To lay that egg in the second half the way they did, that's inexcusable. And when you're in a meat grinder like the SEC, that non-conference loss, it really hurts because you now probably have to run through the SEC undefeated.
Yeah,
and that is very, very hard to do if you play in the West.
Yeah, the thing that struck me in that game is that LSU really just got worn out in the second half. I mean, the game was close and they were playing with them, but you don't see that very often out of an LSU team where physically they were wiped out in that second half, and Florida State took advantage.
This is a good Florida State team, and they've been waiting a while to get back to this level. It'll be a soft ACC schedule. They might be at that level this year. And I guess one more on the good side of it, Oregon State. And again, I mentioned it earlier. Yeah, they played San Jose State, but San Jose State's offense made some noise against USC, in week 0. They couldn't make any noise against what is a pretty stout Oregon State defense. And offensively, that's one of the better offensive lines in the entire country. Good stable of running backs. Elite speed at wide receiver, which you usually don't get up in Corvallis. But they've got guys, they're small, but they're as fast as anybody else's group in the country. And they got a 5-star signal caller, and they're well coached. No, they're not making the playoffs, but 9-10 wins and a couple of upsets of possible playoff teams. I think this team may be that good. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on them.
Yeah, I think they're going to be sneaky good, but I also think this conference is a lot better than people think. And it's kind of ironic that it's in their last year, but there's a lot of good teams in there and a lot of depth. And Oregon State certainly fits in there. And that's a program that's been on the improve. And It's a shame that they're going to be dominating the Mountain West over the next few years, but
yeah, Pac-12 just got really good at football just in time to disband. Works out great, huh?
Yeah. And the other one I was impressed with was Penn State's new quarterback. I think that kid's going to have a really good season. I don't think they're good enough to come in, and that wasn't a bad win, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to compete with Michigan and probably not Ohio State, but I think they've got a pretty good football team.
It was the win I expected. I think we both expected there was some uncertainty at receiver, the new quarterback. I think we expected them to lean on that defense and pound the rock. And that's kind of what they did. It was steady but unspectacular. It was a backdoor over because they brought in the backup quarterback, and he scores a touchdown in the last seconds. And for those of us had the under, that's what we call a bad beat.
Oh, boy. Yeah. But some good games this weekend coming up. I think Wisconsin at Washington State is a sneaky game in terms of competitiveness. And we talked about Nebraska, Colorado, and obviously we've got Texas and we got Texas and Alabama, which is going to be the game of the week, I think. And I don't know if Texas can beat Alabama, but I am not going to be surprised if they hang around.
Well, I think they're going to hang around. Alabama's a little banged up, and that could be a factor here. So I think they'll hang around, and it's going to be a different looking Alabama team than in years past where they just dropped back and threw the football. It's much more of a dual threat quarterback leading this offense. So it's going to be a different looking Alabama offense, and it'll be interesting to see how they adjust to that style of play versus elite competition. So I definitely think Texas hangs around. Dare I say they may even pull off the upset. It's a loaded with talent Texas team, and one of these years they have to play up to the talent they roll out on a football field, and this might be the year.
All right, you saw Andrew Lanham on the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but you know what? Hit him up for Southern Living Cleaning. It's the Lake Livingston area leader in providing quality service for your vacation home. And the thing is, if you already got one, they do everything, right? Cleaning, lawn care, laundry, maintenance, inventory management, property management services available. They've hooked me up with somebody to help me look for a place up there here in a couple of months. And, they consult you on all this stuff. Decor and theme, price points, everything. Great crew, veteran owned and operated, consistent 5-star rating from guests and owners. And easy to reach, 936-581-6166 or 346-773-9577. Or you just go online to lanhamindustries.com, LANHAM industries.com. Or if you see Andrew in the chat, just say, hey, bud, can I hit you up? And he'll take care of you because he's a good dude. So check him out. That's Lanham Industries. Let's turn our attention to the NFL, where we actually start the season Thursday. How excited are you?
I'm pumped. I mean, the start of the NFL season is always bittersweet in some way because it also signals the end of summer. So now instead of being outside all weekend, you're inside all weekend.
I'm thrilled summer is over, brother.
I know. You're in Texas. It's 120 degrees and you're melting.
And it's not over here, so
Yeah, I hear you. It's not over here either, but it signals the end, and I am excited. And I think we got a very intriguing matchup that just got more intriguing with the news that Travis Kelce hyperextended that knee and may or may not play on Thursday. That game just got a heck of a lot closer between Kansas City and Detroit if there's no Travis Kelce, who is, the receiving linchpin of that Chiefs offense.
Yeah, that definitely is going to make a difference. And I'm curious, though. I thought last year that they would really take a step back without Tyreek Hill, and they didn't. I mean, they won a Super Bowl. But I don't know if they can continue to be that kind of team if this Kelce thing lingers. Because now that you don't have Hill, and if you don't have Kelce for a stretch, I mean, who are you throwing the ball to? A bunch of guys that you signed off the waiver wire or drafted and hoped. And Mahomes is good enough to overcome a lot of that, but Kelce's a big, big weapon.
And they might have to play football a little differently. And the problem for them is when you look at them this year, I don't think they're equipped to win in any other way but in a shootout. Defensively, I don't think they're good enough to kind of play grinded out, low-scoring affairs. Spags will try and dial things up, but without Chris Jones in the middle, who I believe is still holding out, this defense goes from kind of bad to worse. So they have to put up points in bunches, and I think Thursday playing a Detroit team who is on the come and whose offense is way ahead of its defense, points are going to be at a premium because Detroit can put up points, and I can't believe we might be asking this. Can Kansas City keep up without Travis Kelce, without Tyreek Hill, without Mecole Hardman, without Juju Smith-Schuster? We keep talking about the guys that were suited up at wide receiver that are now sprinkled around the National Football League. Is Sky Moore enough?
Yeah, I'm going to say that's probably a hard no, but Mahomes, those guys open. So you can be an average receiver and he'll make you look great. But he also happened to have, for the longest time, 2 great receivers and one being a tight end. But I do think that, the Chiefs aren't going anywhere. I do think the AFC is a lot more interesting this year. I think there's probably a little more depth. I think people are trying to throw the Bills out already. And I wouldn't do that. And, depending on Burrow, I think the Bengals are still going to be a threat. And we don't know what the Jets are. I'm curious to see what happens with the Jets. And I know you're up there, and so you're probably getting bombarded with it too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to me, the key to the Jets, can it keep Aaron Rodgers upright? It's the edges, the tackle positions on that offensive line are really bad. So there are ways to get to an aging, yes, he's mobile, but he's an aging Aaron Rodgers. There's going to be all kinds of twists and games to get on those tackles, and if they don't hold up, this whole house of cards that's built to win this year comes a tumbling down. The interior of the offensive line is going to be okay. It's a solid group. But those 2 tackles are really, really suspect, and it could crash this whole thing down because the defense is ready to win now. The quarterback is ready to win now. Skill position players are ready to win now. They just have to protect Aaron Rodgers. If they do, they're going to be tough to deal with. If they don't, it's going to be an 8-9 season and no playoffs, and the biggest mess in New York Jet football since Brett Favre was the quarterback of the New York Jets.
Well, I think it's interesting that that people are kind of on the Jets because it's been a long time since they've been relevant. It really has. To me, the NFL is better when the Jets are good, when the Giants are good, and people can hate them. It gets old hating the Chiefs. It's like, look, it's Kansas City, right? Overrated barbecue. That's all. But I'm kidding, Kansas City friends. You guys have the second best barbecue. But so that, and then of course I'm intrigued with the Sunday night game with your Giants against Dallas. And if you could analyze that for a second while I refill my drink here.
Sure, you go ahead and refill your drink. And, with that game, again, we talked about offensive lines. That could be a key right here. The Giants have been trying to rebuild this offensive line for a while. They got a Haas and Andrew Thomas at left tackle. They can leave him on an island, and he can block just about anybody. They drafted a center that they think is going to be a player in John Michael Schmitz. The guards are suspect, and the right tackle, and Evan Neal, has to step up. He looked awful last year when these 2 teams played, and he made DeMarcus Lawrence look like a star. He has to progress. Again, got to protect Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, and allow him to play with some of these new weapons. If the Giants' offensive line is adequate, particularly from right tackle over to left guard, the Giants' offense could be pretty darn good because they've got a lot of weapon, a lot of speed. They have really went from a slow, plodding skill position group to a lot of speed. Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka are very, very creative in maximizing the talent of the personnel they have. Defensively, Wink's got pieces that he can bring and go get the quarterback. If the back line holds up, the Giants could be pretty good this year. I certainly think this opener is going to be a hell of a game and could tell us a lot about where these 2 teams are headed in 2023, as they're probably fighting for second and third behind the Eagles in the NFC East.
Yeah, and that's going to be a hell of a division this year, I think. And because I think Washington's still pretty decent. And of course, Kira's starting to want to play here today. But I mean, I still think Washington's pretty good too. And you're not going to be able to slip up in a lot of these games, and especially with the Eagles to chase. I mean, I think I think they're the best team in the NFC, and I think they should be the favorites to go to the Super Bowl, and they are. And but there's room for at least one more, and maybe two. And you're going to have to win some of these games.
Yeah, I mean, I really think, and one of the keys for the Giants, they got to start winning in division. It's going to be a tougher division this year. They've got to win some games if they want to get back in the playoffs. It's going to be a lot tougher schedule than last year, and I don't know that they can count on winning one-score games and some of the good fortune that they had. They have to play. They overall have to be a better team to be as good as they were last year from a record standpoint. And I think they have the personnel to do that. They're year two of a rebuild. They're not at the end of the rebuild, but they're a year ahead of schedule and a lot further along than a lot of people thought. They now have speed. They've improved in the trenches. And they've got some really, really good coaching. So I think Sunday night will tell you a lot about both of these clubs. I don't like to put all of my eggs in early season in the basket of early season games, but I think it'll tell you a lot.
All right, before I let you go, real quick, give me one dark horse in each conference to watch out for this year.
Dark horse in each conference. In the AFC, is it fair after they didn't make the playoffs last year to say the Steelers? Is that a fair dark horse?
No, that's a fair one. Yeah,
I think Kenny Pickett's grown. I think they had a great off season. I'm not as big a Mike Tomlin fan as everybody else, but I think he gets that team back in the playoffs. I think they're pretty talented. I think you're going to see them hang real tough with San Francisco at home in week one. And in the NFC, a dark horse, Green Bay post Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's writing them off, and you see them. They're an underdog in week one against Chicago, and I don't think that line is right. I think that Green Bay is going to surprise a lot of people, and it's going to look an awful lot like Green Bay before Aaron Rodgers left in many ways as far as the win-loss record.
All right, I'll give you Seattle in the NFC. I think that's a team that could be really good this year if Geno can keep up what he did last year. I love the receiving core. And in the AFC, give me the Dolphins. I know that all the attention in the East is on the Jets, but this is a well-coached team with a lot of talent. Kind of hurts that they don't have Jalen Ramsey, but knowing that guy, he'll be back before the season's over. And I think it's a big year for the Dolphins. All right, that is Joe Spano. And Joe, appreciate the time as always. Great stuff, man. Anytime,
Fred. My pleasure. Don't forget, you asked me to remind you, got to talk golf. My friend BC won't be happy if you don't.
Yeah, I will take care of that right now, as a matter of fact, because the Dirty Birdie tournament's coming up that Brandon and his group put on. It's Friday, September 22nd at Battleground Golf Club in Deer Park. It's a four-person scramble. Let me just say that. Complimentary breakfast, lunch, Bloody Mary bar, drinks, food all day. Prizes for the best and worst team, closest to the pin, longest drive. And it benefits the Elmina, Shriners, and Ronald McDonald House. You can register at dirtybirdie.eventbrite.com to play or sponsor. And, man, my neck's getting better. I'm hopefully going to be feeling good enough to go out there and play because I've done it 2 years in a row now, and we've had such a blast. So, anyway, thanks a lot, Joe.
And my pleasure. And if you and Brandon are both there, is there room for anybody else to get to the Bloody Mary bar?
Well, fortunately, I don't like Bloody Marys, but there won't be any screwdrivers left for anybody else. I can tell you
that. So. Go get him, Freddie, man. I'll talk to you soon, pal.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot. And welcome UH John in, by the way, to the Twitch chat. About time you got in here, brother. And time to welcome in one of the great sponsors of the show and a good friend, Dr. Linville, who we didn't have you at all last week. You were busy, man.
I know, man. It's a holiday, and I got back to Missouri. So that kind of stuff. How's it going?
Pretty good. So did you at least have a good long weekend there?
Yeah, I got out. We went to the lake the Ozarks. It was nice.
Oh, wow.
Try not to get sunburned.
Yeah, you're fancy. I was sitting here with the dog all weekend getting on Tinder. So that was my weekend.
Is the golf tournament? I might do that. Is it Birdie or birdie like spell it?
It's Birdie.
All right, got it.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Okay, yeah,
It's
send
a
it to
great
me.
event, and you'll love it, and it's for a great cause, and they put on a good show every year, and pretty much alcohol at every hole. So
Yeah, perfect.
it's that kind of tournament. And like I said, Brandon's a great friend, and they do a fantastic job. So all right, I got the hair today.
Yeah,
It's looking pretty good.
looks good. The haircut made a big difference.
Yeah, because I did have, man, I had the creep show thing going for a while. I wanted to grow it long just once because when I was 18, I had this beautiful long hair, and when it got there, I swear I looked homeless, man. I'm like, yeah, not a good idea. Let's tighten it up a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, the fact that I can't even grow mine out, so it just looks terrible. But like I know a lot of guys, comb it over and that kind of stuff. Like we need to touch yours up probably,
Yeah.
and to thicken it up and stuff. But yeah, once you get it done, you can kind of revert back to sort of a normal haircut without the comb overs and stuff, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's really cool that I don't have to wear hats all the time anymore because I have tried. I mean, I haven't gone out on any yet, but I have tried to start dating again, and it doesn't look good. You show up in a baseball cap, right? I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, man, what's up with this guy?
Yeah.
And now sometimes I can get away with the cowboy hat because we're in Texas.
Okay.
Just yeah, but if it's,
I feel like this
if
should
it's
be its own podcast. Is you going on dates?
It's funny because I'm going to have Eva on in a bit, and she's going to make fun of me in my profile and everything.
Oh
so,
yeah. No, I want to see this in action. So, in fact, you should let the viewers know like the next time and put it as an event, and like we'll have, I don't know, a gallery. We'll mic you up and show up, and then you'll have a whole gallery. We can play side bets. We can place a lot of side bets with that.
Oh yeah, well I could like show you the profile, and you guys can start putting odds on it. Like, oh no,
yeah, there you go.
He's minus 400 to fuck this up. So
I love it.
Yeah, I honestly, I did it to kind of have some content for the show. It might be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how women are going, I don't want to spoil too much, but like the first 4 women I met on there, 3 of them were scammers, right?
Oh,
cool. And so there was one real lady who I've actually had a nice conversation with, but I think she's too classy for me. So, which is
okay.
90% of them, but but anyway, so guys, if you want to go get the procedure done, it makes a difference. It makes you feel better. It's so cool when you don't have to wear a hat everywhere. And I still wear hats because I like them, but and especially in the summer when it gets all sticky, it's nice to, but it's nice to have bad hair days because I didn't have them.
Sure.
I just had bad hair. And so if you go see Dr. Linville and go to hairspecialisthouston.com/getfalconhair.
I think I was gonna say we have a webpage for you now. You should just be able to type in getfalconhair.com or search for Get Falcon Hair, and that should pop it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna tweet that out tomorrow, and then I'm also from now on I'm gonna get it on the scroll whenever you're on, so people can.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
it's got a sick. It's got a sick graphic design with some real hair on there.
Yeah, it looks like Billy Joe from Green Day.
Yeah,
it looks like his hair. So, but the consultation is free if you mention the Falconcast, and you're gonna be very happy with what you get. I promise you. I mean. And the follow-up service, everything they do, and he doesn't just do hair. He, if you're looking for some work to get done, which I'm going to get some more done at some point here, especially once this movie sale goes through sometime in the next couple months, and he'll take care of you, and you'll get great service, and you'll get to meet a cool dude. I'll go on record as saying Kane's a cool dude. So
appreciate it. Yeah. Hey, how was the the one thing about the hair stuff is it always kind of slows down the summer because it's so hot. But now that kids are back to school and then you got holidays, so this is a good time actually, for guys who are kind of on the fence. And we're also offering a special for like, it's usually $4 a graft. We're doing a special for $350 a graft.
Wow.
So that's a lot. It's a pretty significant discount. So this is usually the best time to get it done, kind of around the holidays or right before, that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty sweet deal. And then how was the concert thing? I couldn't make it.
Oh man. And I've told my friends who didn't make it, I'm kind of glad you didn't. Not because we actually put on a great show, and Eva, who's coming on next, was fantastic emceeing the event, but it was so damn hot, and she and I were both there from like 3:30 until after the concert outside, and I actually had a mild heat stroke halfway through the performance.
Oh God.
And I had two friends had to leave from heat exhaustion, and I went and looked on. I had my computer set up because I was going to stream it for everybody who couldn't come. And it said 114 degrees, and then the screen just went black. So,
oh my God.
And so and it was fun.
All right.
Because, but it was a great event. We raised $20,000. Like I said, Eva was amazing, and UH John was there, and it was hot. But I mean, it was funny. She was having to pour water over me after every song. But I'll say this: I was really proud of my performance. I'm proud of the band's performance. I think we. Forget the circumstance. I think it's one of the best shows that I've been a part of, because this band is probably the best band I've been a part of, even going back to when I was 18. And
sweet.
It was great. The only thing I was worried about, the last song is always "Killing in the Name" by Rage Against the Machine, which is pretty high energy.
Yeah.
And at that point, man, I could barely move, and I'm like, all right, we're doing this. And we did, and it was a lot of fun, man. So I'm sorry you didn't make it, but I'm not sorry either, because I do appreciate the people who friggin' sat there throughout all this.
Yeah. This is why I don't, I think the lesson is September is a way better month for outdoor activities than August.
Yeah, we're gonna do another one in October.
Okay, okay, cool.
Probably late October, to raise money for one of the things that Vu and I have been talking about is everybody raises money for school teachers in August, right? But they have to pay for all these supplies all year long. So we thought we'd do something then, and then they can go into the winter break and bring back whatever they need. So so that's the plan for that one, and I'll have some all new old songs again. So
all right, sweet, man. That sounds good,
brother. Appreciate you coming on. Let me know when you're free for a beer, man. We need to catch up.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks.
See you.
That's Dr. Linville, and he is great. And you know who else is great? Eva Elliott.
Here I am.
One of your all-time favorites of the Twitch team. And we were just reliving the concert thing a little bit, because he was out last week, so didn't get to hear that I almost died and that you saved the day. So
I'm not all heroes wear capes, Fred. Some just wear slutty dresses.
Or tight leather green pants.
Or tight leather green pants. You love those pants.
Oh yeah, I do. But what's up, man? How'd the show with Kugos?
It went great, actually. It's funny. You and I have talked about this, how sometimes when you come off stage, if you did a good show or a great show. And I've had shows, man, it felt like a really great show, but then I watched the recorded and I'm like, okay, it was a good show, but it didn't kill. And this one, man, I felt really good and came off stage, and my friend recorded the whole thing. And so I got to watch it yesterday, and it's my best recorded show ever. If I do say so myself. It's the best I ever, and so I'm really excited. I'm waiting on it now to get all auto captioned, because for whatever reason AI does not know what I'm saying half the time. I think it has a motherfucker limit, and so it can't handle how often I say certain words. So I'm waiting for that to all get updated and corrected, and then I'll start releasing some clips of it on social media, because I need to update my clips. My stand-up clips they're from February, so that's a different world for me. So and I had a new joke that I didn't. My friend was there, and she's seen all my material, and I had a new joke that she's never seen before, and she's holding and she was recording it on her phone, and I didn't tell her I was doing it, and it kind of involved her too, and you could hear her just busting out laughing, and she didn't. I mean, she's kind of reticent. She doesn't laugh as much, and she busted out laughing. I was like, yay, win. So it was a good show. But everybody in that show was fantastic. So there wasn't There wasn't anybody there that wasn't up to the task, and we were in the box at. You'll find this amusing. So we're in the box at Secret Group, which is that back room that you get into on Polk. Well, because they had an all ages metal show in the front room going on, and it was a free free entry, all ages. So it was insane. Like they had a line around the corner, and one of the people in the line was my 15-year-old. So I went in with him. I walked in that side, and because I know everybody over there, and so I'm telling all of them, "This is my son. This is my son. If he misbehaves, you smack him, then bring him to me because I'm going to be right next door." Because the show he went to started at the same time as my show. And I went and told Jesse James, who's another comedian. He also works as a bartender at Secret Group. And so I went and grabbed him. I said, "If you see my son, if he's out of control, you drag him to me." Well, even before I went up on stage, here comes Jesse pushing my son along, and he hadn't gotten out of in trouble or anything, but it was his first. Well, he's been to the Circle Jerks, but it was his first. That was a really intense scene, and he was like, "Mom, it was just too much for me." I said, "All right, baby, come sit in the green room." So that's what he did. So
yeah, I can't even imagine what that would have been like, because I went to a few of those when I went to a few that I wasn't supposed to when I was 15. Let's just put it that way. And pretty wild. So so you got the thing in at Rock Newton's or whatever the hell it's called that you do every Tuesday, or no?
Well, actually, it's on pause because of the Astros. So we're paused for the rest of this month, and then we'll see about October. There's just no point in trying to fight that. A lot of the people who come to our shows really want to watch the baseball games right now, and I get it. So we'll be there. We're not going anywhere. We can take a break. It doesn't hurt our feelings, and we love the Astros. So we're going to give them deference right now. Don't worry. We'll just be writing new jokes. It's all going to be okay.
You got any other headlining gigs coming up?
No, you know what? It's really quiet for me right now, and
Really?
I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm going to work on writing some new material. I've got some things I'm looking at booking for this month, but I haven't committed to anything yet. I'm kind of, I need a break. I need just a breather for a minute. So, and I'm apparently going to have to rewrite your dating profile. So I'm gotta save some energy for that. Did you tell anyone yet about your?
I mentioned that. Okay, so I was really bored.
You're dating all the robots. You're dating the robots, is what you're doing, Fred.
Well, I'm into robots as long as they're sex robots. Unfortunately,
I can
it's
believe
not that kind. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I guess I was sitting around Sunday morning like, you know what? I'm sitting here by myself with this damn dog and nothing to do. Let's just get on Tinder and see what it's like, just for grins, right?
Sure.
And see what kind of people actually would respond to me. And I think there's been like 4 so far, and 3 of them are just scammers. And one of them's a real lady.
Well,
she's really nice, but I think she's too classy for me and that kind of thing. Because you know me, I'm touch of the gutter. So
yeah, you like your women a little tad on the trashy side. I understand. Well, okay. First of all, what are your parameters? Like, what age is your parameters for the women you're looking for?
18 to 80. No. No.
Sure. You're so full of shit.
35 to 65.
Okay, so you need to up that bottom range just a little bit, dude. First of all, can I ask you my Ask Fred a question?
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. Why don't you hit on your 7-year-old neighbor who you say is so hot? She's not that much older than you.
Hey.
You want women who'll date you. Hey,
no.
She's 13 or 12 years older than you.
16.
You want women to date 16. Okay, still, you want to date women who are like 70 years younger than you. So it seems to me you should afford the same courtesy in the other direction. You say she's hot.
No,
go get you some.
2 reasons for that. For one thing, she's a friend, and the other thing is you don't mess things up by dating your neighbor. That's like there's certain places you don't go. That's like you don't date your boss, you don't date your neighbor because you're gonna fuck things up. And I can't.
I guess I break the rules then.
You and I have very different rules on things, which is okay. I mean, that's all right. But no. I mean, I couldn't do that. And she's 7.
But Fred, you're getting on in years. You should start making sure that all your tail is getting closer and closer to home.
Well, you and I have talked about this. My problem is the women my age think I'm immature. Which, guess what? Hello, welcome. You nailed it.
Just a smidge.
The ones that are young that think I'm mature, also think I'm too old. So, there is a middle ground somewhere, and maybe I'll find it. But I did have one weird moment on there. A friend of mine, and I need your advice on this, whether I tell him this. His wife is on there with a different name and says she's single, and like I know her photo because I know her Facebook photo, and I feel guilty that I even know this, and that I shouldn't say anything because it's not my business. But it was weird. Not gonna lie. I'm like, would have been.
So which way did you swipe, Fred? Which way did you swipe?
I hit the X. But
okay. Did you read her profile? Did you read her profile,
yeah.
Or did you just see her picture?
No, I read the profile.
Huh?
I had a profile.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, I mean, maybe they're ethically non-monogamous. Maybe he just hasn't told you this. Maybe that's something that you're into.
We've had a few drinks together. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not my business, but it's weird. And
now, well, if anything, tell her that you saw her there. Just say, hey, if I saw you there, somebody else is going to see you there. It's going to get back to your man.
Yeah, I might do that because I do like her. I just, and maybe they do have an arrangement that they haven't told me about. But
yeah. And that's to me, that might be the best course of action. Or I think you should have swiped on it, gotten some of that, and then felt really bad because I know how much you love to dwell in your own misery. So just create a bigger misery stew for yourself by doing all the things you shouldn't do. What do you think of that plan?
I have plenty of misery. I got enough misery.
I know, but I'm giving you an opportunity to create more for yourself because I know how much you enjoy your misery, Fred.
Oh yeah, well that's it's like to quote the late great poet Lizzie Hill. I miss the misery, and. Anyway, sorry, I had to get a song reference in there. Damn it.
Of course you did, and we all appreciate you for it. Thank you, Fred. Thank you for your service.
Oh well, that's what I'm.
So you just sat around you just hid in your apartment all weekend from the heat with your dog?
Most of the week. I mean, I went over to Phoenix for lunch one day. I went Sunday, and I think there was a Barca game, so it was packed, so I had to leave. But then I went yesterday.
Oh, gotcha.
I went yesterday and just sat there at the bar and, my little corner at the Phoenix and,
your little,
yeah,
my friend and I, so we haunt the sports bars. That's our thing. In fact, I've got a podcast coming before too long. That's about sports bar women, but, we have a sports bar. It's a U-shaped sports bar. So either end of the U butts up against a wall, and we call those the sad corner and the angry corner. And depending on our mood, we know which, because that's the corner you can sit in with your back to it, and you can see who's coming at you, and you just give them that look like, don't come at me, don't come talk to me.
Well,
or you just look really sad, and then no one wants to come to you. When you look like a woman who's about to cry, nobody wants to come talk to you. Then it's perfect. It's the perfect way to sit and just actually enjoy your libation and your sports on the screen. So we never know whether we want the sad or the angry corner. So which corner were you in?
Well, so you obviously know inside there's the two corner spots on the right side of the bar where it's blocked. It's blocked off from the bar where you can't see from the taps. That's my corner.
Yeah,
I like that corner. That way I don't have to.
Yes, that's the angry corner.
If it's angry, I mean, I'm not an angry person. I got angry about that stupid TV show last week. Yeah, I got angry about that. But yeah, otherwise I'm not.
Everybody wants to avoid angry Freddy. He doesn't come out much, but he does come out.
Evil Freddy is a mess, and I've spent years trying to put that dude in a box and keep him there, because once he's out, I can't control him.
He doesn't rein in.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question for you.
Ask away.
Go ahead. Oh no, finish what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
Okay. My other question is: have you gone to the doctor about your neck yet?
No, but it's about 85% better. I have been. I've got a neck massager that works really well. So
somebody left a vibrator behind, is what you're saying.
It's like that. Yeah. But no, I've been taking a little THC each morning, and just a little bit, enough to get rid of the pain, and it's a lot better. And so what we'll see though is after I do the show, it's like that's when it's been hurting. So I've actually set my laptop up high, which is why I look like I'm scrunched down. So I'm looking up instead of down, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works. So.
Okay. Well, I'm giving you one more week. If that neck's still hurting you this much, I'm going to drag your ass to the doctor.
You're the third person to tell me that, so somebody will get me there. But no,
I know.
No,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's getting better. But one more setback, and yeah, I'm definitely going. And
Okay.
But by the way, shout out to Brian, who's checking in from SC, and UH John.
Nice.
John says he met a Bulgarian female massage therapist. That sounds kind of cool. But like big Bulgarian woman or a little skinny order a wife Bulgarian?
I am Helga. I am here to work out all of your kinks.
I got a lot.
You'd be into that, though, Fred. That is your kink. Big, brawny woman. I am here to beat on you. Okay, what sportsy thing do I need to know right now so I can sound smart in the sports bars?
Yeah, by the way,
because I don't know sportsy things.
Yeah, you definitely have to come on and tell the people when you get this podcast started. So
well, the official inception date for my production company was Friday, so I've got things in motion now. It's just gotta working my way up to some things.
So you say inception, and now I'm thinking like you're going 20 levels down, and I don't. Another movie reference.
Oh, I'm going all the places, Fred. I'm going all the places. Me and Helga. Okay, but what sportsy thing do I need to know right now so I can sound smart in the sports bar?
Well, if you want to talk about your Astros, they're in a battle to win the division, and it's real tight.
What place are they right now?
They're tied for first. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
So just tell people you need Seattle and the Rangers to lose. That's it.
Okay. I can say that.
College football has started, which is the greatest sport known to man. And
I saw LSU did not do good.
No,
I'm an LSU girl.
No, and I was doing some freelance stuff on that game, and I'm halfway through it going, oh my God, why did I sign up for this? This is awful.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I had to send a message to a friend of mine who's a big LSU fan. I just wrote condolences, but it made me sad too because I do know some sportsy things.
See, there you go.
I'm not completely oblivious.
And NFL starts. Okay. NFL starts Thursday night. So if you like the professional football, if you're a fan of professional sport, it starts Thursday night, and this is really a cool. I mean, to me, this is the best week of the year because it's week 2 of college football, and we're getting a bunch of great matchups, and it's the first week of the NFL. And to me, if I wind up getting a date, this is a wrong weekend for it because I will sit at home and flip through every possible game for as long as I can.
Well, then don't book a date this weekend then, or do like a lunch date on Monday or something. I'm gonna have to look at your profile. I texted you and told you to send me a screenshot of your profile, and I'm gonna tell you what.
400 things on it. You can't really just screenshot the one part. You'd have to.
Well, the next time I see you, I'm gonna take your phone from you and I'm gonna fix it.
Fair enough.
I'm let mommy fix it for you, boo boo. Okay.
You're too good.
You're such a fucking mess, man.
Of course. And you love it. That's why you're my friend. You have somebody you can look down on. Oh, anyway. Well, I appreciate you coming on as always, and glad you did well Sunday. Look forward to your next show. We look forward to talking to you.
Thanks, babe.
Everybody loves you on this podcast, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's get drinks either later this week or one day next week.
Yeah, just pick a day. You know me. I'm just sitting. I'm just sitting at home on Tinder.
Nah. Jeez. I'm gonna take it from you. I'm gonna do all your swiping. I'm gonna find you some appropriate women.
I'm changing.
You need a mature woman to just drag you through life, basically.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, you obviously have mom skills, and you recognize the fact that I'm a child. I get that, but I kind of like being a child. That's just how I am.
I understand. Me too. I'm just fucking with you, Fred. I'm a giant idiot myself. So.
Oh yeah, but you're one of my favorite idiots. So there's that.
Well.
Thanks so much.
Same, baby. Same.
Thanks so much for coming on, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Bye, darling.
She's a lot of fun, guys. I mean, she really does great comedy and good friend, and she's a lot like AJ in that she has no problem making fun of me. which I'm cool with that. King of all Twitchers, camera angle needs to improve next time. She didn't show boob this time. That's what you're mad about. All right. I was waiting on Lawyer Dave. He said he was going to call in, so I still got a Lawyer Dave to talk about. And UH John drinks Thursdays. Cool with me. It's usually steak night at PJ's. I go over there on Thursdays. So all right. So I got a couple things. Hey Shelby, welcome in. Behannon got in. I missed him. There's Day One Donna. Day One Donna and Chase are two people who've donated to the show to keep it going. I appreciate them very, very much. And if you want to, all you have to do is, oh wow, we're being rated. Is that really Barry? Oh, Barry, you got to come on here, man. I love Barry. He's such a great human being. But welcome Raiders. Yeah, Shelby, I can't show you my Dalmatian. I lost a Dalmatian in the divorce. Yeah, but I do have a Husky now, so there's that. But yeah, Barry, I may adjust the time. AJ and I wanted to do it at 4:00, basically as a hey, take this X station. Let's see if you can, let's see how that goes. But but I'd rather not do it when Barry's doing his, because you know what? I like listening to Barry. I love Barry. I mean, he's a talented dude, man. And no, Dalmatian is not code word for junk. And yeah, it was divorce sucks, but losing your dog really sucks. I mean, I raised that thing from the time she was a pup. She, first night there, she slept on me, and then the wife got her and pretty much everything else. But the cool thing is now I'm in a cool place over in Montrose. Freaking love it. And got lucked into Kira the Husky, who a friend of mine found in a ditch, and he texted me and with a picture and said, "Hey, you want a Husky?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm not over my other dog." And the sinister son of a bitch, Mason, he's on here sometimes. He brings her to our poker night the next night over at Maple Leaf. And I was playing every Wednesday over there at the time, and he runs a game, and he's a good friend. And he's got her in the bar, just lying there. And I walk in, and this damn dog runs up to me out of nowhere with 60 people in that bar. She puts her paws on me. She looks at me with these gorgeous blue eyes. And I'm like, I'm taking the dog. And you know what's been great? It's just her and me. And, she laughs at me as much as Eva does when I'm, like getting on Tinder this weekend. I'm like, hey. She's just looking at me like, dude, you don't bring any women around here. This is my house. So, yeah, you say dogs pick people. She just chose me. And I don't know. She looked at me like, yeah. So I'm wondering, for you guys who are here now, what if we started doing it at 5:00? That way, you can catch Barry and then you can catch me. What do you guys think? Let me know on the Twitch, because I'm open to it. So, did she smell the death on me? Oh, death's coming. She knows she'll inherit the place. Yeah, and the other reason I'm thinking about 5, and Barry, I'd like your advice on this, is like a lot of the comedians I want to have on, they all work. And they're not off until 5. And some of the musicians too. So, I'll just see. It was AJ and I just decided to do 4 at the beginning. And now I'm kind of like, well, I think we're all done with that. So yeah, maybe 5:00 makes more sense. All right. I do have another little bit of a TV thing today. Last week, if you missed it, I ranted about the worst written, directed, and certainly the worst acted show I've ever seen. And I'm old, right? I mean, I've seen Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's that level bad. And it's called Invasion on Apple TV. And do yourself a favor, do not watch it. I went through the whole first season just because I wanted to see something positive. And, I'm part of a filmmaking group now, and so I'm trying to learn stuff. What I've learned is you don't sit there and put a camera in a person's face and have them stare off into nowhere for a minute looking pensive, especially if they're unattractive. Come on. But there was more to it, and I'm not going to get into the whole rant again. But my faith was restored this week because I watched Dark Winds on HBO, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but produced by Robert Redford. George R.R. Martin's a producer, and it features the guy who played the sheriff, the native sheriff in Longmire. He's the main character. Way underrated actor, and I loved it. I thought it was very well done, and it made up for a lot of the other crap. So, of course, then I hate when it ends. Right? It's like I get through the whole series, like, damn, I wanted a couple more episodes. The other one, I was just like, please, end. Definitely not Joe Pro. Whatever became of the Jesus Just Left Chicago movie. Yeah, I'll go ahead and announce this now because I signed a new option last week, and we are working on a couple of really big names and should have the money for it sometime in the next 2 months. And I'm going to decide what to do with the rest of my life after that. And maybe I just, I'll keep doing the podcast, but, I might move to another city. I've never lived anywhere but Galveston, Lamar, Houston. And I might buy a place out on Lake Livingston and just live up there. I've been thinking about that. I can't tell you who the names are, but I know you'll know them both. Well, you'll know the actor who's interested, and most of you will know the director. And it's someone who, at first, when you hear the name, you're like, I don't know who that is. Then you look him up, and you're like, oh, wow. So yes, and it's the option's done, it's signed, and now it's just a matter of once the money comes in, I get paid, and John McClane is interested. Yeah, I don't know if there's a role for John in there, but yeah, I'm working with my friends Remy Carter, who works with Jerome on the TV show. He's the producer, and his lovely wife Callie is the one who adapted the script for me. And the people who have read it just love it. And she did an amazing job. She brought a different take to it. So, yeah, that's going to happen. And hopefully, like I said, until I get the money in my account, everything's always, well, it's not done yet, right? But I hope there's nudity in it, King, because there is nudity in the book. Lots of it. Threesomes. And now there's one scene where you don't want to see the nudity, right? But yeah. So that's happened, and I know it's been through a lot. And the last group I was working with was in March, and then that's when and they were out of California, and that's when the writers' strike started. So, it's it wasn't as much money as I'm going to get. And, the things is going to be filmed here. And the writers, I'll just say this because I told Callie this. The writers wanted to write their own screenplay and kind of say, oh, well, we don't want to use this one. I'm like, no, that's my partner. She worked on it. She did a great job. Thanks, but no thanks. And so now here we go. And and Barry knows what they're working on. We've got a couple other Tubi projects that I'm working on now. I met with a young writer yesterday who came up with a really good story that I got to get in front of Remy and Callie and see what we're going to do with. But yeah, it was it's that thing's really coming along, and I'm excited about it. And man, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I think I'll jump in there with you guys here sometime. When I'm not sitting at home having the dog lay on my lap while I go through Tinder to see if I have any matches, which. Yeah, I thought it would make for some good content for the show, especially when Eva comes on because she loves making fun of me and she's good at it. So yeah, we'll definitely get together again. And thanks all you guys for coming in, Barry. Thank you for bringing everybody. And yeah, if I move to 5 o'clock, promise me you'll come on. So UH John finally figured out Twitch today. UH John, I'll give credit to. He was one of the guys that was at the concert 2 weeks ago and sat through that damn heat and didn't die, which is almost more than I can say. But yeah, that was brutal. Donna, so good to see you. So good to see all you guys. Barry, love you guys, man. Appreciate y'all dropping in. And you know, right now every Monday and Thursday at 4 o'clock. We didn't do yesterday. We'll do Thursday at 4 o'clock because I think that works better for AJ. But I'll see if he's open to 5 on that. But we'll move the Monday show to 5 o'clock starting next week. Thanks to you guys. How about that? Does that sound good to you? All right, we'll be available, within 5 minutes after we get off here. It'll be on Spotify, Apple, all those places. I want to thank all our great sponsors, Lanham Industries we talked about earlier, Pick Me Events, who do a great job, Dr. Linville, who joined us today, and Lawyer Dave, who did not. He said he'd be here. Yeah, Dave, and the Phoenix on Westheimer. They're all great sponsors who keep the show going. So thanks to all of them. Please support them when you can. And until Thursday, stay sportsy, Gulf Coast badasses.